Yeah, I'm going Puka Bear applause over CeeDee, nigga.
Things out of the vape.
Yeah, listen. Secondly, what I say, because I know we got to get to the games that happened last night. I know one thing for sure, two things for certain, that nigga Jalen Hurts had all day with no Michael Parsons. That nigga was skipping, he was waving to the crowd. Before every pass, he was doing all type of shit, dancing. Then he was scrambling. He had the most rushing. He had more rushing yards than Saquon Barkley. He had more rushing yards than Saquon. No Micah, niggas was doing whatever they wanted to do.
Deliver that. You know, I like the way you're trying to deliver that.
Oh,
I like that. You know
that ain't a fact?
Where's your accountability?
That ain't a fact.
Now you want to deliver it where Jalen Hurts. He looks so great. He had more yards than Saquon Barkley. Why don't you deliver it? I know they ain't getting no pressure on Jalen Hurts, but boy, they shut down Saquon. He had 2,500 yards last year. See, it's all the delivery. It's how you see things, how you deliver things. I say the Cowboys shut down the run, the best running game in the National Football League without Michael Parsons. So that was okay for the first game for the Cowboys.
Always a butt.
You was happy with y'all performance, huh?
Well, no, I mean, listen. I watched this thing carefully. Because like I said, all of us have at least two of us in each of us. So when Miles Sanders broke out, he was gone. That was it. That would have given us the lead. I don't know why, for the life of me, this dude didn't just cut back. It was a one-on-one race. If a guy's coming up on one side of you, all you gotta do is cut. You kill the angle. He'll never touch you, never run you down. And then a few plays later when he fumbled, it was hard to keep that old Fort Lauderdale Mike quiet. He started talking about his conspiracy. Miles a double H. And I said, shut up, boy. Stop that mess. You see what I'm saying? I had to come back to reality. But if Miles Sanders would have just made that one cut, that game is over.
First of all, Mike, that's not what happened. Okay. Second of all, before I get to what happened, Zach played lights out. Dak played lights out. Did you just throw a shot at CeeDee Lamb though? Because you said 88 don't drop passes, and he dropped. We all seen him drop at least 3-4 passes. We seen it, and you said, and he's wearing number 88, which is your number.
Look up. An anomaly is something that never ever happens, but it happened this time. It won't happen again. That's what I know.
Yo, Murder, let me ask you something.
Mike tried to throw him under the bus and still keep it cordial.
CeeDee Lamb wears 88.
No, and let me say this too.
And Mike wears 88, and he says 88 don't drop passes.
Yeah, I thought he was talking about himself too.
No, I knew he was talking about. He's talking about CeeDee because everybody knows CeeDee dropped 3 passes. So Mike threw a shot at CeeDee without really throwing a shot at him, and now he called it an anomaly to try. He tried
but it's a double entendre though, because he's saying 88 don't drop passes.
Yes, but that's Mike's point. Mike's point is this. This is why he doesn't want his number retired.
You can't get me sideways.
Hey, yo, Mike.
I know you trying to rub an elbow over here, rub an elbow over there, get me in trouble. Let me tell you, that I get people texting me all the time when CeeDee drops a ball, right? And you know what they said? I bet you would have caught that. The real 88 would have caught it. I'm like, nigga, shut up texting me this. My team is losing right now. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. So stop telling me like you
the real 88.
Feel good.
Then why be the real 88?
Don't be telling me nothing like that.
Why be the real 88, Mike? Why be the real 88 then? That? Why be the real 88 then if you don't want them texting you that?
The real 88 is on the field. He's the only 88 that can play. I can't take my old ass out there.
See, this Mike is good, man. See, this is what I'm trying to say.
Spin
Mike,
doctor.
This is what he does. He says he don't want his jersey retired because when 88's in the field, it's a representation of him. Right. But he still wants to stay. But he throw a shot at you because he say 88 don't drop passes, but then he covers himself and says it's an anomaly. So therefore, he covers his bases. And then I got him down pat. Then he says it's like something that never happens. But then he just says,
happens.
Hold on, Murray. But then he says, Every time he drops passes, niggas call me. So that means he drops passes a lot if niggas be calling you all the time.
Who's calling you? That's Mike, wait.
Most drops in the NFL since 2020.
There are two ways you...
Mike, the man has more drops than anybody since 2020, Mike.
No. CeeDee had 6 drops last year. One of the fewest guys.
Go ahead, stats. Pull up the stats.
3 or 4 drops.
Since entering the league, it says he has 35 total drops, the most of any player in that span. CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, sent to it, but I'm talking about last year. He went through.
No. I can't make this up.
He went through for transformation. Remember, when CeeDee came in, CeeDee was playing the number 2 receiver behind Amari.
No.
And then Amari left, and he became the number 2. Number 1. There were things in the beginning of CeeDee becoming number 1, especially wearing 88, especially the Cowboys, that I thought even had to catch him. You know, so many people were always going to be in his area early on, and he did let a few balls go. We had a conversation about that years ago, you know, about certain ways, and I was just talking to him about certain ways to kind of prevent some of the things. When everybody's in your space, that's why you're catching your body, things like that, because he's number 1 and everybody's going to be around him. But since then, CeeDee has been great. CeeDee made some of the best catching in the NFL.
We know you got to go back to Jerry's world, so this is why you're saying this. Let me ask you a question, and I know the answer. It's kind of rhetorical, but I still want you to answer the question.
That?
What number has he been wearing since he entered the NFL?
CeeDee?
Yeah, exactly. 88 has the most drop passes since 2020. You just said the niggas is always calling. You talk about every time he dropped the ball,
35
niggas is still calling. Times 5 because it's 5 niggas calling him. But
you heard Mike. He dropped the ball again.
Yeah. Niggas Mike told me, I don't want to hear my team losing. Yo, listen, man. We understand you got a relationship with CeeDee Lamb.
Mike, why are they calling you? Mike, why are they calling you?
Receiver in the National Football League. Y'all cannot mess with him. And I love that he stated, those are the plays I dream of. He says on him. That's what a real leader does. That's what a playmaker does. Now
you want to give him your nickname, the playmaker.
Playmaker.
Yo, listen, man. What I'm trying to say is this.
He makes the play.
Listen, Mike, let me tell you something, right? Let me tell you
Mike,
this,
they
man.
can see you like Cam used to tell me, man.
You know we can see you. First of all, let me tell you something, right?
What's that?
If Mace is walking and I accidentally trip him, I'm gonna be like, yo, you know what, Mace, I'm sorry. I tripped you. I can't be like, yo, why you walking like that? What are you talking about? He took accountability. Yeah, we see you drop the passes. You better not say nothing else but it's my fault. You better not say, well, if Dak would have put a little more zip on it, we see you, nigga. You talking about he make accountability. He had no other choice but to take accountability, Mike. And now you not taking accountability. We start the season off with you saying you have to take accountability. This is how we start the season off. And now you're not even taking accountability, being a fair analyst.
Accountability because I told you this was an anomaly.
Anomaly. We get it. It was an anomaly.
You don't become the top receiver in the NFL with drop passes.
He is not the top receiver.
He's not the top receiver. He's not the top receiver, Mike.
He's not the top receiver, bro.
$35 million a year and 35 drops since 2020, Mike.
Let me ask you this, man.
Is he better
than Jamar Chase?
CeeDee's a top three receiver.
No, come on, man. He's not better than Jefferson or Chase. Cut it out, man. Cut it out. You got to stop this, Mike. He's not better than either one of them, bro.
Who else you gonna put in there? If you go Jamar and Justin, or Justin and Jamar, then you got to go CeeDee after that. So that's what I'm telling. I'm
I'm gonna take Puka Bear out with the Rams before CD right now. What's my nigga name? Puka Nakua, nigga. I'm taking Puka Nakua, nigga, over CD, nigga. Yeah, I'm going Puka Bear over CD, nigga. Yeah, listen. Secondly, what I say, because I know we got to get to the games that happened last night. I know one thing for sure, two things for certain, that nigga Jalen Hurts had all day with no Michael Parsons. That nigga was skipping, he was waving to the crowd. Before every pass, he was doing all type of shit, dancing. Then he was scrambling. He had the most rushing. He had more rushing yards than Saquon Barkley. He had more rushing yards than Saquon. No Micah niggas was doing whatever they wanted to do.
Deliver that. You know, I like the way you're trying to deliver it.
Oh,
I like that. You know,
that ain't a fact?
Where's your accountability?
That ain't a fact.
Now you want to deliver it where Jalen Hurts. He looks so great. He had more yards than Saquon Barkley. Why don't you deliver it? I know they ain't getting no pressure on Jalen Hurts, but boy, they shut down Saquon. He had 2,500 yards last year. See, it's all the delivery. It's how you see things, how you deliver things. I say the Cowboys shut down the run, the best running game in the National Football League without Michael Parsons.
How they shut
down?
They
didn't get to run the ball to it.
Yeah, how they shut them down if they lost?
But not only that, Murder, what he's trying to say is
60 yards.
Yeah, he had 60 yards, but how much Jalen Hurts had? 72 rushing yards? Which is that ain't crazy?
Yeah, Jalen Hurts rushed for more yards than
I just said that.
Yeah, you did.
Like we ain't. You know what, Murder? We gotta move on because there's it's nothing we could do.
Wait, can't wait. Look, listen. Look at it right way. Okay, so that means you telling me you taking the broken plays that Jalen Hurts plays were broken plays, broken runs where everybody's everywhere. Philadelphia and Saquon Barkley, those were the design runs. So when you design, they got stopped. What you designed got stopped. You can fix the brokenness by keep making sure everybody stays in their lane. But what you want to walk out of a game with, knowing I stopped your design. You beat me on the holy moly roly stuff, but I stopped your design. And that's what they did.
Would that happen if Michael Parsons was there?
Will they be able to stop the run like that?
No, would Jalen Hurts have? Listen, y'all had a great job on Saquon Barkley. We get that.
He stuffed the middle of the field. He played well. You got to give him credit.
Why you can't just give me a yes or no, Mike? I understand y'all had a great job with Saquon Barkley. Would Jalen Hurts have been running like that if Micah Parsons was there? That's all I'm saying. With the holy moly roly, whatever you want to call it.
You know what? And I watched Michael Parsons today. You saw how he ran down.
Yes. Behind. And he supposed to have been hurt and all that.
That I give you. He covers ground. He does cover ground. But
the answer is no. It wouldn't have happened if Michael Parsons was there. It's just a yes or no question. The answer is hell no. It would not have happened if Michael Parsons was there.
Michael would have been somewhere closer. Closer. You're right. I'll give you that.
Real quick, just back to the receiver, just to give Mike his flowers, because he did say CeeDee is top 3 receiver in the league, and I would agree with that as well. So I'm going to give him that credit, because when you think Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee, I would put him in that category. And Mace, you're not off the hook, because we're going to talk about the Chiefs too. Two teams that lost, but let's get into...
I'm going to be honest with you, and it's just because I'm going to be honest with you, and it's only because Tua is always hurt and not available and everything. I'm putting Tyreek Hill over fucking CeeDee Lamb when he has a good, decent quarterback. And when Tyreek Hill has a decent quarterback and his quarterback is available.
Nobody can refute that on this show.
Yeah, so he can sit there and say that absolutely all he wants. Tyreek Hill, when he has a good quarterback and they on the same page, he is a top 3 receiver. CeeDee Lamb can go right behind him, pause if they want.
And wait his turn.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a fact, Jack.
What you think about that, Stat? Florida native?
I mean, I think Tyreek Hill is great, but we're also going based off a situation. We're saying if Tua was in the best health, and we know that he hasn't been playing how he should, so we have to go. Based off
Tyreek
of
is like that.
But we have to go. He is like that. That's not even a conversation. But I'm saying we're going based off of what we see right now.
He don't drop the passes like CeeDee.
And that's unfortunate because, yes, like he was saying, CeeDee didn't have that slot until the other guy retired. But what I'm saying is, to Mike's credit, I will give him that, and I respect it.
I'll take AJ Brown. I'll take Mike Evans, nigga. I'll take
Mike
Nico.
Evans.
Yeah, listen, man. Listen,
You take Antonio Brown?
No, I said AJ Brown. I said AJ Brown.
And he's tough too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We gonna say and stop all the CeeDee Lamb shit, man.
Y'all gonna take Antonio Brown.
I take Antonio Brown.
That's what he said. I said AJ Brown.
I take Antonio Brown over CeeDee Lamb right now.
I'll take a healthy. I'll be honest with you. I'll take a healthy Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Listen, man. I like Stephon Diggs when he active. They're like, look, CeeDee is in a bowl. It's 3 niggas. Justin Jefferson.
That was crazy, Kill.
Yeah, okay, you got it. Yeah, pause. Okay,
Exactly.
pause.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming in because he was getting way too far out there.
Yo, the whole PT. Keep it on it. The whole 10 minutes, the whole first.
Bad.
Yo, Mike, the whole first 7 minutes. Nick, you know what? The first edit Mike up for the clips later on today. Since Mike, you was going crazy. You talking about, I forget what you was saying, but you was going crazy. But no problem.
What you talking about?
You was bugging earlier.
Yeah, catching on his body. All
Yeah, you was saying
talking
something. We was
wild.
letting you say a bunch of stuff, Mike.
Yo, Mike.
Number 88. 2 simple digits that carry a completely different meaning depending on who's wearing them and who's watching. In Dallas, that number comes with a level of pressure most receivers will never understand, because for more than a decade, it was attached to one of the most respected wideouts ever to wear a Cowboys uniform. Now, that responsibility sits with CeeDee Lamb. And after Week 1, the conversation exploded into something that had surprisingly little to do with the final result and everything to do with legacy, expectations, and one dropped pass that had sports group chats going crazy nationwide. Let's establish the backdrop first, because without the context, the argument doesn't make nearly as much sense. The Cowboys opened their season, and, at least on paper, the performance was all over the place. There were moments that looked genuinely impressive. There were also mistakes that had Dallas fans squeezing their remotes a little harder. And then one particular sequence suddenly became the focal point of the entire discussion. Miles Sanders found himself with open field on what appeared to be a potentially game-changing run. For a brief moment, it looked like nothing stood between him and a huge gain that could completely shift the scoreboard in Dallas's favor. Then, everything changed. A defender managed to close the distance, the running lane vanished, and shortly afterward, a fumble sent the momentum swinging in the opposite direction. That one sequence became the launching point for one of the most entertaining sports arguments to spread across the internet this week. On one side was a former quarterback turned analyst, someone who's never exactly been afraid to criticize what he sees, whether that's questionable play design, effort, or a missed opportunity on the field. On the other side was a former wide receiver, someone who spent an entire career catching footballs and knows firsthand what it means to have every route, every mistake, every drop, and even the number on your back judged under a microscope. And this is where the conversation took an unexpected turn, because suddenly the running back wasn't the main topic anymore. Instead, the spotlight moved almost immediately toward the receiver wearing number 88. Here's where the whole thing gets interesting. While discussing Dak Prescott's performance, one of the analysts casually made a comment along the lines of, "The guy wearing 88 doesn't drop passes." Sounds harmless at first, right? Except everyone watching immediately recognized the problem, because CeeDee Lamb had already allowed several questionable catchable balls to hit the ground during that very game. So naturally, people in the room challenged the statement, and instead of simply walking it back, the analyst responded with one of those subtle but brutally effective lines that can completely change a sports debate. He labeled the situation an anomaly, basically suggesting that this was an extremely rare exception and not something normally associated with that jersey. That one word, anomaly, suddenly fueled the next 20 minutes of discussion because everyone understood the comparison being made. The analyst had worn number 88 himself, so his defense was also quietly putting his own reputation beside CeeDee's, implying that drops were never supposed to be part of the identity attached to that number. It was self-praise mixed with a little criticism of CeeDee at the same time, and that's a tricky line to walk, especially when everybody in the room is paying attention. The pushback came quickly, and, at least on the surface, it arrived with receipts, because during live sports debates, statistics tend to get thrown around faster than anyone can verify them. Someone referenced drop numbers from previous seasons, comparing CeeDee Lamb's total since entering the NFL with some of the larger drop counts among receivers during that same period. The opposing side wasn't having it, pointing out that CeeDee had actually recorded one of the lowest drop totals of his career just last season. That important detail was almost completely drowned out by the noise surrounding the one game everybody was focused on. And honestly, that's exactly how sports arguments work when they're happening in real time. Numbers get pulled from memory, some sound convincing immediately, others get challenged before the sentence is even finished, and more often than not, the actual truth is somewhere in the middle, buried underneath everybody's personal perspective and competing narratives. But underneath that entire statistics battle was a much bigger storyline, and that's what made this particular debate more interesting than just another argument about one mistake. This wasn't truly about one game or even one season. It was about the expectations that come with wearing a number once associated with a franchise icon. When CeeDee Lamb entered the league and took over number 88 in Dallas, he wasn't simply receiving a jersey. He was also accepting every comparison that came with it. Every drop, every spectacular catch, and every highlight would inevitably be judged against the standards set by the player who wore that number before him. That's an enormous burden for anybody to carry, and to CeeDee's credit, by most reasonable standards, he has developed into one of the NFL's most productive and dependable receivers since those early years when he was still splitting targets and trying to establish exactly where he belonged in the offense. Eventually, even the analysts had to acknowledge that growth, because despite all the jokes and criticism during the roast session, there was a genuine moment when everyone seemed to agree that CeeDee Lamb has earned the right to be discussed among the elite receivers in football, alongside names like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. And that's not a small compliment. Those two names represent the absolute benchmark at the position right now, and even putting CeeDee in that conversation for a moment tells you just how far his game has come, despite the drops and everything else that gets attached to his name. Then, because no sports debate ever stays focused for more than a few minutes, somebody brought up Tyreek Hill, and suddenly the entire discussion took another turn. The argument was straightforward. When Tyreek is healthy and has a quarterback operating at a high level, there may not be a more terrifying receiver in the NFL, period. But there is an important caveat, because injuries and quarterback play have been legitimate factors working against him over the last couple of seasons. So the room landed in that familiar sports talk territory, where everyone agrees on the upside while debating whether potential should be enough to move someone ahead of a player who has been more consistently available and productive. That's exactly the kind of question these shows thrive on, and as usual, there isn't one perfect answer. From there, the discussion expanded into a full-blown receiver ranking debate, which is pretty much inevitable once somebody introduces one superstar into the conversation. Names started getting tossed around. Some people mentioned younger receivers making noise and climbing the rankings out in Los Angeles. Others brought up players from Philadelphia and Tampa, receivers whose reputations are built more on toughness, contested catches, and reliability than flashy highlights. It became one of those classic moments where everyone is trying to make a legitimate point while also keeping the conversation entertaining. And let's be honest, that's exactly why viewers keep coming back these shows. Eventually, though, the discussion moved away from receivers completely and returned to the two games that had actually taken place the previous night. Because as entertaining as the CeeDee Lamb debate was, there was still plenty of actual football that needed to be examined. The first major storyline focused on Philadelphia's backfield, but specifically on what the quarterback was able to accomplish with his legs. He delivered an electric performance, escaping broken plays, finding open space, and picking up valuable yards when the original play design had completely fallen apart. And in a statistic that was repeated several times because it made the point even more dramatic, he finished the night with more rushing yards than the team's star running back, the same running back whose name had become almost synonymous with explosive rushing performances the previous season. That number immediately created another mini-debate. One side wanted to give the defense credit for limiting a rushing attack that had been historically dominant, especially considering they were doing it without one of their biggest defensive playmakers available. The other side argued that much of the quarterback's production came through scrambles and broken plays instead of designed rushing attempts, and defending those situations is a completely different challenge. There's legitimate truth sitting on both sides of that argument. When a defense stops a designed run, it usually means the front seven won their individual assignments. When a quarterback starts ripping off scramble yards, it can often point toward discipline breaking down in coverage. Guys leave their responsibilities, lanes open up, and suddenly the quarterback has a runway that was never supposed to be there. Both scenarios happened during that game, and reasonable football fans can absolutely disagree over which one tells the more important story. There was also a quieter point buried inside that discussion, a question that could easily get overlooked if you're not paying close attention, but one that actually reveals how these debates should be evaluated. Someone asked whether that same running lane would have been available if the team's best pass rusher had actually been healthy and active that night. Once everyone stopped circling around the question, the answer was pretty obvious: probably not. Elite defensive playmakers completely change the geometry of a football field. They collapse the pocket faster, they force quarterbacks to make decisions sooner, and they remove the exact kind of open space that turned into those extra rushing yards. It's the kind of hypothetical that a debate show can never truly settle, but it's also exactly the type of questions serious football people ask themselves after a close loss. What changes if your best player is actually standing on the field instead of watching from the sideline? By the middle of the show, the discussion had somehow touched almost every major angle from one football weekend. A missed cutback that potentially changed the outcome of a game, a jersey number carrying far more emotional baggage than anyone outside Dallas may fully understand, a drop stat argument that exposed how selective memory becomes when people are trying to prove their point on live television, a receiver ranking debate big enough to consume an entire show by itself, plus a defensive what-if that may have mattered far more than anyone wanted to admit at first. And that's exactly what makes debates like this so entertaining. Honestly, another reason these shows have developed such loyal audiences is because the people involved genuinely understand and care about the game. This isn't simply manufactured outrage designed to generate clicks. These are former players who know firsthand how difficult it is to run a precise route, make a catch through traffic, or fill a rushing lane against a mobile quarterback who refuses to go down. When they challenge one another, question a questionable statistic, or call out without the convenient use of a word like anomaly, they're speaking from actual experience rather than just reading numbers from a screen. That's the difference between sports commentary that feels empty and sports commentary that can keep you watching for half an hour before you even realize how much time has disappeared. And that's ultimately why this particular debate caught fire the way it did. It wasn't simply about whether CeeDee Lamb drops passes or doesn't drop passes. It was about accountability and how easy it can be to demand perfection from somebody else while protecting the reputation you've already built for yourself. It was about respect, too, the kind of respect that sometimes gets delivered reluctantly through jokes, criticism, and a few well-placed jabs toward a receiver who has clearly established himself as one of the better players at his position. And it highlighted one of the oldest truths in sports arguments. Everyone remembers the statistic that supports their argument and somehow forgets the one that completely ruins it. So where does all of this leave us? CeeDee Lamb had a difficult stretch in one game. The moment became much bigger because of the number on his jersey and the enormous shadow cast by the player who wore it before him. But step back and look at the entire picture, and the story becomes much more favorable. You're looking at a receiver who has developed into a legitimate top-tier threat, someone being mentioned alongside the very best in the league, even by analysts who spent a significant part of the segment roasting him. Philadelphia's backfield also reminded everyone that a mobile quarterback can create just as many problems as an elite running back, and sometimes even more, particularly when the defense is missing a difference maker off the edge. And Dallas left that game with a legitimate question about how different everything could look once that defensive game wrecker returns to the field. NFL seasons are long, and Week 1 storylines have a funny way of aging once more games are played. Some explode into massive narratives that follow a player for the entire season. Others disappear by Week 3 and become nothing more than a forgotten talking point. Right now, nobody can say for certain which direction this story will take, but if the first week of debates is any preview of what's coming, we're looking at a loud, unpredictable, and ridiculously entertaining season of football conversation. And honestly, that's exactly how fans want it. Before you leave, if you enjoyed breaking this one down, drop a comment and tell us where you stand on the entire 88 debate, because something tells me this audience has plenty to say. And make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next breakdown.